This week on Photography Lockdown, it is a mugs game, okay? We're going to be working with mugs. If you're not sure what Photography Lockdown is, please click the little thing popping out above me right now, that link, and it will take you to a page where it will explain everything you need to know. Basically, it's a course of free weekly tutorials, little challenges and a competition to keep you out of mischief during lockdown and help you grow your photography skills at the same time. This week the theme is mugs game. You must use the hashtag which is on the screen right now when you enter the competition. Please remember that competition entries must be uploaded to the Facebook group by midnight UK time on Thursday. Please don't upload stuff after that time because they won't be included, neither will images which don't include the hashtag PLD mugs game. So what are we going to be doing? 4 mugs or cups, that is all you're allowed. Those are your ingredients. We want to level the playing field a little bit this week. So everybody is going to be working with the same ingredients. 4 mugs or cups, maybe glasses, okay? We want to see the most creative thing you can do with 4 cups or mugs or glasses. The other thing I'm going to encourage you to do, but I can't tell you to, and that is just to use an ordinary 18 to 55mm lens. I use the 18 to 55 for pretty much everything in all my travel photography, in most commercial jobs and things. Rarely use anything else, yet many people go, oh, but you've got to have a good lens to get photos. Well, yeah, there are advantages to having different lenses, sure, but let's see if we can level the playing field and just stick with this. Now, if you don't have an 18 to 55, please don't write in, that's cool. Just use something equivalent. If you're using a bridge camera or a phone or something like that, obviously it doesn't apply. All I'm saying is let's just try and keep it really, really basic and see what we can come up with. The most important thing in all of photography is always light and understanding how it works. You've got to use your light. You need to use composition. The camera is merely a tool for harvesting light and composition. There's a handful of controls you need to know how to use, probably 5. There's some features that are handy, but that's about it. And once you can juggle those 5, you're rocking. If you're not sure how to do that, please click the little thing up above again, because my 5-week online beginners course will absolutely give you everything you need to know to control one of these things and understand the basics of light and composition and all that good stuff. Now is a good time to be doing that. So what are we going to do with our mugs? First, I'm going to put you on the mantelpiece over here. Actually, I'm not. I'm going to show you the room. Look. Light is really important. So there's light coming in from here. It is blowing across the room to these mugs. So to a certain extent, they're backlit. If we look down on top of them, I don't know if you can see, there are very, very gentle shadows on this side of the mugs. So it's great light. Light is the most important thing. It really is. Photography and light. Photos graphos, I think it comes from, which means painting with light. There we go. I think we'll go about here so you can see what I'm up to. There we are. I want to move this armchair out the way. A little bit of furniture removal, so we've got some space to work in. The most obvious thing, I guess, is going to be the down shot, isn't it? Let's just make a down shot and see what it looks like. We're going to work our way through some little creative ideas and see which work. But I want to show you light first because I think you're going to see it when we do this. This is a very, very basic thing. But I think you're going to see how light is playing such a part. I've got my camera set right. Yes, I have. Settings, what am I using? Well, it's just about getting the exposure, isn't it? Which settings you use for an exposure, they really don't matter unless you're playing around with depth of field or movement or something like that. But here we go. Let's have a look. What do we need? So I want to make sure I've got a fast enough shutter speed. I'm not going to wobble the camera. I'm only on an 18 to 55 lens, so anything really a 50th and above is plenty good enough, isn't it? Especially if you've got image stabilizing, and switch it on. So to do that, let's have a look. My light meter says that's about right, and it should be about right, to be honest. 125th. Let's actually reduce that aperture just a tiny bit. I want to go to 5.6, and let's just go to a 60th, there we go. So I'm on 800 ISO at a 60th of a second at f5.6 in this light. Don't try using those settings yourself, your light might be different. You've got to figure out how it works. You've got to find your own. So let's just take that shot. And I think you can see, even though it's a very boring kind of setup, it looks slightly interesting, but it's because of the light. Look at the little rim lights on the catch lights on the tops of the cups. Look at the slight shading to the left. It's that light coming through the window. And that might have helped had I got 3 white mugs or alternate coloured mugs or complementary coloured mugs. Maybe if I'd done the washing up and didn't have a grubby thumbprint on that mug on the right, it would have helped as well. But hey, there you go. So that's a very obvious shot. Now, how about using this light, maybe backlighting a bit? What can we do? All you've got to do is fiddle about, move things around, see what you can come up with. Now, if we were to shoot this way, I've got a very, very messy background indeed. Look, let me just show you. I'm just going to shoot it first and show you. Look, great light, very messy background. Same cup, same place, horrible picture. You see, this is why photography is about you, the photographer, not the location. You can take awful pictures of amazing locations, and you can also take great pictures of really quite dull things if you use this thing. That's your first building block of photography. For those of you who have done my 7 building blocks course, you will know this. So that doesn't really work, does it? So how about getting rid of what's going on in the background? Well, here's a little thing which may or may not work. I don't know, haven't tried this. But what if we create a background? I've got a colourful bag. Now, this may not work at all. I don't think it will. Simply because it is colourful. Look how colourful that is. And I reckon it's going to fight with the mugs and the cups. And it's not very wide, is it? How will we manage this? So we want to make sure our cups are within that space. Let's take that one out of the shot. You can have up to 4, by the way. It doesn't mean you've got to use 4. You could use 1 if you want. What I'm looking for is you being creative with some mugs and cups and very little else. Let's see what we got. Go to video. Because we can transform this shot really easily into something really quite interesting. Right. As you can see, here is our goat's cheese bag. We do like a goat's cheese bag. And some mugs. But look, if we sort of zoom in, we can start to lose that background. We can start to isolate the cups against the bag. But do you see how... Okay, we've isolated the cups. If I move back and keep zooming, we might be able to get a little bit of reflection. We have. But you see how they're fighting with the background? You see how they're in competition with it? It's too busy. You can't make out what is going on. So that doesn't really work, does it? What could you do to change that? Well, if you've got enough space, if you've got a big enough table, maybe you can move this further back here and the cups further away from it, and then start to play around with shallow depths of field so you can separate it from the background. Photography is about trying things out, experiment to see what happens. It may not work. In the interest of not letting this video go on forever, I'm not going to show that. You can try that. You're in lockdown. You can experiment, okay? But something to try, if you want to, is to do what we just did. Instead of having a close background, move it further away, move the subject further away, move yourself further away. But you still want to try and work within the confines of that 18 to 55 lens. That's the challenge here. It's going to make your brain hurt, I think. I reckon we can make something more interesting. How about if we use these mugs and this backlight here, but against a really dark background, so we've got some slightly moody lighting. Let's see if we can create one. I grabbed a couple of chairs out the kitchen so we can put these here. Now, I don't have anything black. I don't have a black sheet or something, but I've got this brown blanket. And I think if we separate this, if we're exposing for the mugs on the other side of this blanket, I am pretty sure this brown blanket will go black. I don't know. I'm experimenting with you. This is what photography is all about. So hopefully, Let's just move these that way a bit. Reason I'm moving them this way a bit is because I'm hoping light will be coming from this side and it will backlight these cups a little bit more. I want the light to come over the top and backlight. Don't know if it's going to work. We're going to find out. Oh, I think it might. So, we can move these a little further back. Let's see what we start to get when we do that. Let's have a look at it. Oh, I quite like that reflection. Now I've got some lens flare sneaking over the top. Look, in this corner here. That cloudy bit is a bit of lens flare. I quite like those reflections. Can we lift this up and zoom down in a little bit? Look, we can. Look, this is getting a bit more interesting. It's not great, but it's a bit more interesting. What if we darken it? That brightened it. Embarrassing. Now in the video it looks a bit too dark, but you see how that background has pretty much gone black. So it's not working too well really. We've could have killed the light on the mugs at the back. What about, just thinking out loud here, if we got this brown mug, the darker mug, and brought it here, we should be able to see, yeah, I think I'm getting a little catch light on the handle of that, which is generated by the window. Let's see, can we do it? And by using a wide aperture, oh, we are. Oh, I do like this. So, let's see if we can bring this closer. Maybe even look through the handle. I don't know. Oh, we're getting some really quite nice light on there. Let's see, will that focus? I think it will. Will that make the lens, can we make that lens longer? Yes. So what I'm playing with is, I want to see, can we sort of look through the handle, but can you see that lovely delicate light on this mug in the foreground? Now maybe we can move the mugs at the back around a bit. Let's see if I can prop that on the edge of the phone so you can sort of see what I'm fiddling with. I think that can go an eeny bit further away. These need spreading out a bit, maybe staggering a bit. I don't know. This is up to you to play around with. That looks better already, doesn't it? Maybe there's a thing to be done, something, you know, like trying to line up the handles. Yeah, that's quite good, actually. I quite like the way those handles are coming in. I didn't know that was going to happen. This is all about experimenting to see. That was too much, wasn't it? Let's come back out a bit. That's not bad. Let's move the black and white one further to the left and maybe bring it forward. That's better. Now I'm beginning to think that the mug at the very back there, look, if you look in the little inset, this one, look, you see how that's kind of annoying, I think. What happens if we take it out? Possibly better. Move that one in. There we go. That's more interesting. Can we bring it back in further back? But if you do that, look, you've suddenly killed the shape of the handle. These are things you experiment with. This is all about seeing. I'm taking that one out altogether. It has no place in my picture. That's better, isn't it? That's better. So, a shallow depth of field. What sort of aperture is that? A wide one. That is what is giving us that shallow depth of field. The fact that we're exposing for the mug on this side. Let's try going darker. That was brighter again. It's twice in one video. That's a little better, isn't it? Let's just take the picture and stop faffing about. I'm not sure what angle I want. I'm not sure where I want to be. There we go. That's good. What is my shutter speed? We're still on 125th, which is pretty cool, really. I've got my aperture as wide as it will go. I want to get my lens as long as it will go. Maybe move back a bit and just see single shot. There we go. If add that, and by tilting down a bit, we're getting a touch of reflection too. That's quite moody, isn't it? Let's make it a little brighter, and I'm going to do it by increasing the ISO because I don't want to. Actually, I'm going to do it the other way around. I'm going to decrease the ISO a little bit, but slow down the shutter speed. Here we go. Line up the shot again. There. That's quite nice. I rather like it. It's quite moody. Play around with these things. Experiment. I'm not going to go on any further with that because I think you get the idea. I think you get where we're going with this. But this week's challenge, it's a mugs game. Use the hashtag on screen when you enter. I'm going to be judging them, and then we'll be announcing the winners and runners-up and doing some discussion and having a Q&A on Sunday night. You must have your entries in by midnight UK time on Thursday. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what you guys can come up with using limited ingredients and hopefully just a little old 18 to 55mm lens, the one that everyone says, I've only got a kit lens. Well, that's about all I ever use for anything. Take care, have a fabulous week. Enjoy playing around with your cups and mugs. Make that grey matter hurt, because when your brain hurts, it means you're creating new neural pathways. You're thinking new thoughts, you're seeing things differently. And that's what it's all about. Take care. See you next week.